Between 2010 and 2011, authorities searching along this isolated oceanfront parkway on Long Island made a grim discovery: 11 sets of human remains hidden in the brush. Among them were the Gilgo Four, a group of women who had all gone missing between 2009 and 2010. Each victim had been carefully bound at the head, midsection, and legs, and wrapped in burlap. Investigators quickly established that most of the victims were sex workers, but that was where the solid leads stopped. For more than a decade, detectives hit dead end after dead end, and the trail went completely cold. An entire New York suburb was left to wonder if the killer had died, moved away, or was simply hiding in plain sight, living among them completely unbothered. Then, in April of 2026, the silence finally broke inside the Suffolk County Courthouse. Rex Heuermann, a 62-year-old architectural consultant, walked into a courtroom and abandoned his years-long claim of innocence. Just 5 months before he was set to stand trial, he pleaded guilty to killing 8 of those women. To understand why a man who fiercely fought his charges suddenly folded, you have to look at what investigators were doing behind the scenes. When the district attorney reopened the case in 2022, they quietly assembled a collection of modern forensic data that left Heuermann with very few ways out. The investigation finally gained traction when the Suffolk County District Attorney reopened the files in 2022, ordering a fresh review of a massive backlog of evidence. Detectives zeroed in on an old, seemingly minor witness tip related to the 2010 disappearance of Amber Costello, one of the original Gilgo Four. The witness had described a very specific vehicle, a first-generation Chevrolet Avalanche. When investigators cross-referenced that description with vehicle registration databases, the search results pointed straight to Heuermann. This single database match transformed the focus of the serial murder investigation, placing Heuermann directly at the center of the search. Authorities knew the killer practiced careful operational security. He used anonymous burner phones to contact the victims, arranged meetings, and then dumped the devices immediately after the murders to break the digital trail. But even a discarded phone leaves a historical record. This map displays the exact locations where those burner phones pinged off local cell towers years ago. When analysts mapped the historical pings from the killer's phones alongside Heuermann's personal cell phone, the locations overlapped perfectly. The phones were consistently active in exactly 2 places: Massapequa Park, where Heuermann lived, and Midtown Manhattan, where his office was located. He tried to keep his second life completely disconnected, but he anchored it to the exact route he drove every single day. By early 2023, law enforcement had Heuermann under active, round-the-clock surveillance. They tracked him through the crowded streets of Manhattan during the evening rush hour, waiting for him to make a mistake. That mistake was remarkably ordinary. Investigators watched him throw a half-eaten pizza crust into a Midtown garbage can and immediately retrieved it. The lab extracted his genetic material from the crust and compared it directly against the profile found on the burlap sacks from Gilgo Beach. It was an exact match. This specific triad of evidence, the car, the location data, and the DNA, provided a foundation that eventually led to a total collapse of Heuermann's defense strategy. The resulting plea agreement ensures Heuermann will never leave prison. He accepted 3 consecutive life sentences without parole, stacked on top of 4 additional sentences of 25 years to life. His defense attorney stated the confession brought a sense of relief to the killer, noting that taking the deal spared both his own family and the victims' relatives the trauma of sitting through a public trial. For the loved ones of women like Maureen Brainard-Barnes, this admission brings an end to an agonizing limbo. They spent years wondering if anyone was even looking for the truth. 16 years after the first disappearances, 8 families finally heard the man responsible stand up in court and admit exactly what he had done. But the math leaves a terrifying question open. Heuermann confessed to killing 8 women, yet authorities recovered 11 sets of remains from that oceanfront stretch. Investigators have long stated they do not believe all the victims are connected to a single person. One predator has finally been locked away, but the full story hidden in the sands of Gilgo Beach is